An oyster is a filter feeder, which means that it ingests microplastics while eating. This means that microplastics could have a huge impact on oysters and their reproductive and digestive cycles. There are over 250,000 tons of microplastics in the oceans. That's over 5 trillion floating particles. So scientists decided to see how these floating particles would affect oysters. Over the course of 2 months, adult oysters were exposed to microplastics during their reproductive cycles. This study and its results show that microplastics do have effects on oysters and their offspring. Studies showed less feeding, reserve depletion, inflammatory reactions, and microplastics in their circulatory systems. There was also a less survival rate and reproductive disruption due to the lack of energy from the microplastics. During the experiment, the scientists observed the oysters and realized there was less oocytes in exposed female oysters. Oocytes are immature egg cells. There were also less sperm in the male oysters. It is also notable that microplastics were seen in the stomach and intestines of the oysters. However, they weren't in the digestive tracts of the oysters. During the experiment, in terms of reproduction, there were 46 differences between the experimental oysters and the control oysters. There were 76 in terms of digestion and 81 in the oocytes. Not only do microplastics affect the digestive and reproductive cycles of oysters, they also affect their offspring as well. The significance of this experiment was to show how microplastics could affect not only the reproductive cycles of oysters, but future sea life as well. What this experiment comes down to is that microplastics affect the digestive systems of oysters. This then affects the amount of energy the oysters get, and that then affects the reproductive cycles of the oysters, which then affects the offspring the oysters produce. This groundbreaking data can then show the impact that microplastics have on different marine ecosystems and different marine animals.